and welcome to this week's episode on Real Living. Today we are talking about marriage and a topic that fits right inside of the broad topic of marriage. But before I dive into it, I thought it would be nice to give you a little bit of background of mine and Tyler's relationship, just so you guys have an idea of who we are if you don't know us already. So we actually met in high school, so we're high school sweethearts. I will admit I did not like him as a partner, and I couldn't even think of him as a partner at the time, but he was funny, he got my attention, he was your typical teenage boy, and I just was not into it. I was like, no, I need someone sophisticated and grown up, and blah, 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 blah. Well, anyway, long story short, we went to prom together, we grew up together pretty much. I mean, our lives and families kind of blended in weird ways, and which we found out later. And it was just really nice to kind of go through all of major life stages with him. So that was really great. We got engaged early, we went to the same college, and we had a 4-year-long engagement. So that was a long engagement per our desires, and that was our want. And then we got married on June 11th of 2016. So we've been married ever since, and it's been really, really fun. I can truly and honestly say that. Of course, it is not roses all the time. There certainly are ups and downs. But one topic I was asked to cover is something that I think a lot of relationships struggle with. And it's something that I have actually, in preparation of doing this video, have grown to not really be a fan of this term. And the term that I've been asked to cover is compromise. And that word, I think, has a very broad definition and can change and be different for everybody. So truly, when I think of the word compromise, I think of giving something up for somebody, something, some whatever it might be. That's the first thing I think of when talking about it. And in a marriage or in any relationship, you don't even have to be married for this to apply to you. I think that giving 100% from both partners is what is key to making a relationship work. If you take the word compromise out of it, you will not ever feel resentment toward your partner, and vice versa. So if you, just to give you a very easy analogy, if you think of your journey in marriage as a whole as like a giant puzzle, okay? And you are one of those puzzle pieces and your partner is another puzzle piece, you know, there's different edges, there's different bumps, there's different little spokes that fit together. And that is what your partner is to you. You both have to fit and come from completely different backgrounds, have a different set of personalities, have different morals, and together you make this big puzzle fit, right? So you're like the last two pieces to make this entire piece of a piece of art, pretty much. So in keeping that in mind, when you remove that compromise, you're both giving 100%, right? So to me, when someone says, oh, I have to go do this, or, oh, I have to go meet my partner here, that's kind of a red flag in my opinion. Of course, there's things, you know, in life, just in general, that you don't want to do, obviously, where you're going to say, I have to go do this or I have to go do that. But if your words are geared towards something that your partner thoroughly enjoys, like, oh, I have to go to the driving range, or I have to go to this movie. Okay, don't say it like that, because your partner is the one who really wants to go to the driving range and spend time with you, or they really want to take you to go see this movie or go see a movie that they want to see. And that's just part of marriage. That's part of giving and doing things 100%, right? So obviously, you know, changing the way you're thinking of the tasks that your partner is asking you to participate in is going to help you feel like you're not giving something up and you're not compromising in a specific way. So one of the things that I really, really do want to talk about is open communication. And it seems very simple and it seems super obvious, but it is so key to eliminating compromise out of your marriage entirely. And I'll give you an example. So for us, and for me, just because this is my own opinion and what bothers me, is early on in our relationship, you know, I like to talk. I like to tell stories, whether they're funny or dramatic or whatever. And at the end of the day, when I come home, Tyler's usually, working or answering emails, or I'm on social media. And I mean, we're literally glued to our phones because of our businesses. And I think that's pretty standard across any person's daily life. And when I tell a story, I think it's disrespectful if someone isn't giving me their undivided attention, because I would do the same for that person. So if I'm telling a story and T's watching a video or something, I'm mad. I'm like, hello, I'm your wife. I want you to listen to me, So in my head, I'm thinking those things. I would never verbally tell him that, like in that way. But I had to ask him, and it took me some confidence because I didn't want to seem like I was being like snarky and demanding. And that stopped me from asking him originally, early on. But I thought, no, he's never going to know that bothers me unless I tell him. And if I don't tell him, I'm going to resent him, and I'm not going to want to tell stories. And then we're not talking. And it's just a slippery slope. So because I kind of grew a pair, and I was like, you know what? I need to tell him that bothers me. He listened, of course. And he was like, oh yeah, no, that is rude. Like, he agreed. I didn't know if he would agree, but it wasn't a compromise on his part, because we talked about it and we mutually agreed that I'm not going to do that to him when he's talking. And now he knows that it bothers me. And because he wanted to make that not be, he didn't want to make me upset with him or resent him for not wanting to change his behavior in that moment, he did it. And now it's something that neither of us do, whether we're at the dinner table or we're sitting on the couch watching TV. If one of us is talking, the phone is flipped upside down, or it's more often than not in the side of the couch cushion. And so that's that. So that's just a very small example of where open communication and telling your partner the things that bother you, or the things that you really benefit from, that you really like that your partner does, will help you, because they're not mind readers. Well, I'm a mind reader to Tyler sometimes. I always know what he's thinking. I'm just kidding. But they don't know what you want. They don't know what bothers you unless you tell them. So it sounds super simple. It sounds like, oh yeah, well, I do that. Well, think about it more. The more you tell your partner the things that you like, the less amount of time you're going to spend wishing that they did this or wishing that they did that. And then you're not going to feel like you're having to change them, because that's not going to happen, okay, unless they know what it is that bothers you or that you wish they did. And same goes in the complete opposite direction. If your partner does something that just was like, wow, that was so nice, or I really love that in the morning Tyler gets up and makes me coffee, instead of just being like, thanks for the cup of coffee, or not saying anything, if I said like, T, it really makes me happy knowing that when I get up and I brush my teeth and I come downstairs, there's a cup of coffee waiting for me, and I love that you do that. Thank you. Like being, what's the right word? Positive, and I'm totally blanking on the word that is where you express gratitude. So I'm just going to leave it at that phrase. That also helps, because then you're not feeling like you are nagging or constantly asking them to do something different. And we're going to, in this next episode on the topic of marriage, we're going to talk about love languages and how to identify what it is that your partner enjoys and how they receive love, because there's lots of different kinds. And it's really important to understand what your partner needs from you in order to make them happy. So that's going to be the next segment, but hopefully you learned a little bit about communication and understanding that that's how you have to eliminate that word compromise to avoid resentment and feel like you're constantly the only one giving, because that's going to get tiring and it's a slippery slope from there. So thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to join you guys next week. Bye.